My name's David May, and I want to briefly touch on how impressionable children can be when they're quite young and what they retain. And I'm going to use myself as this example. I was 7 years old, and I lived on a long dirt road surrounded by very few houses, and I had a few playmates, maybe 3 or 4. We played together constantly. We rode our bicycles, we played in the mud when it rained. Our leader of our group was a 12-year-old girl. Her name was Julie. And she's the one who would teach us all kind of strange things. And one day we were out playing in what I thought at the time, being a 7-year-old, was a big field. Actually, it was just a vacant lot, looking back on it. While we were playing in that field, she stopped us and pointed out the areas to the grass there. So she started looking around and started seeing, and she said, "Don't step on those spots. Fairies live there." Now, at 7 years old, I believed in fairies. I thought fairies lived down there. And so I never stopped and walked on those little trails and looked at those spots. By the time I was 10 years old, though, I knew fairies didn't live there. And I knew these little trails that if you look as you walk through this trail, you keep looking off to the side here, you're going to see, if you start refining your vision a little bit, you're going to see numerous little paths, very small little paths that run off of this trail. And these are the trails and the paths that are occupied and used by all the small animals that we know that live out here, from mice to raccoons to coyotes to deer. And of course, as humans, we use these trails the same way. And then of course we travel off down the interstate on trails. So the point here is two things. One is, remember, the children, when they're very young, they do retain some things that you may never realize they're thinking about. Fairies. I was 7 years old. The word has different connotations now, we know that. But then it made a lot of sense to me. There were little people living down there, little things. And later, when I was 10 years old, I finally got down there and I found the first mouse. And then I found out about the animals that use these trails and how they live their lives, and how their lives are very similar to our lives, because their trails and our trails. Thank you.